All right. Welcome, everybody. It's great to have you all here. Very much looking forward to the chat we're going to have on the topic of cybersecurity in the age of AI. And before I introduce the two amazing panelists that we have on today, let's maybe do a very quick check of the room. How many of you, and please put your hand up, are using AI in your day-to-day roles? And I think all the hands should hopefully go up. Yeah, exactly. Would have been weird if not to. How many of you are in non-technical roles and are still using AI and perhaps even using AI to generate code and tools that are then being used throughout various functions of the organization? Perfect. Still quite a few hands going up, and I think that is exactly why the topic of cybersecurity is becoming more and more relevant in an explosive way with the increased usage of vibe coding tools, the general adoption of AI and AI-based coding in particular. The number of lines of code being produced is growing exponentially and will continue to do so. And that, of course, means that the attack surface of our companies, of your companies, of our economy, of our digital infrastructure is expanding rapidly. And that's why it was actually one of the most discussed topics here. I was walking around on the floor today. Many senior reps from Mittelstand companies, founders of early stage companies, scale-ups alike, are discussing the topic of cybersecurity. So you can really feel it has moved away from being an isolated topic discussed in the IT department to a boardroom level kind of discussion. And I'm very happy that we have two panelists that have been in this market for quite some time on, I would call it, opposite but fastly converging ends of the spectrum. On my right-hand side, we have Vinit Patel. He's the VP of Revenue for Aikido Security. Aikido is one of the fastest growing companies and the fastest growing cybersecurity companies, certainly in Europe at the moment. They're working with thousands of customers, small startups, also scale-ups, banks like Revolut, and also older champions such as Montblanc, so really across the board customers you're working with. And then on your right, we have Marc-Julian Siewert. Julian is the CEO of SecuNet, and SecuNet is responsible for the security of our most critical digital infrastructure. He's working with senior government representatives, including our own German government. He's working with critical suppliers in the defense supply chain up all the way to the primes, and he's working with international partners on NATO level and so forth to secure the way cloud operates there, communication is secured. And I'm very excited to kick it off and hopefully get some fruitful insights from you guys. Vinit, maybe you want to start, give us a quick glimpse into how does Aikido work on a day-to-day, maybe give us a story. I mean, you're in the news a lot uncovering attacks, always first usually, or most of the time first before others get there. Tell us a little bit how that works in practice for startups. How do you act in your day-to-day with your customers?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for the introduction. It's very clear and succinct. Long story short, every organization now, small or large, is filled with not just a handful of engineers and developers, but nearly everyone has turned themselves into an engineer or a developer, right? So if you're not already using some form of AI in your day-to-day work, there's a good chance that you will be very soon. And instantly, within a short space of time, but maybe the last couple of years, many organizations have gone from, this thing in the distant future, maybe we'll do something with it. And now everyone is being encouraged to do something with it, especially large enterprise organizations. And so what that means is that if you now have machines writing code, you essentially have machines bringing in all sorts of risks into your organizations that you have no idea exist, frankly. I don't want to be too alarmist, but that is essentially what is happening. It was a hard enough job before, and it's now become monumentally difficult. And just to give a very acute example of what this means, 5 years ago, many of you will be familiar with the concept of open source, right? Like at a basic level. 5 years ago, anything that was open source was not an area where bad guys or bad actors or nation states who had malicious intent thought about really trying to, put it in the back of the Western world, for example, right? In the last 2 years alone, the number of supply chain attacks, the number of bad actors, whether they are just doing it in their bedrooms for fun or because they're being funded by large nation states to do this, has increased monumentally. And it means that more and more, I think every day we'll discover 200 or 300 open source packages alone, for example, that have malicious code in them, right? And what are they trying to do? Ultimately, they're trying to steal stuff from you. It's the same cat and mouse game that humans have been playing with each other for centuries, just now in a digital format. So I guess the overwhelming message is, if you are building anything in the agentic space, or you are using it in your organization, so that pretty much covers everyone, you need to take this risk extremely seriously, whether it's using products like ours. I'm not just here to do a product pitch, or others, at the very least, to equip yourself with the tools to understand what's going on. That's certainly the perspective that we've formed and the stuff that we're seeing day to day.
Well, that's very helpful. I mean, you spoke about malicious packages, for example, being introduced. Julian, we had a conversation earlier. Is really the only solution to remove ourselves from the outside world, the cloud world, or how does one secure the mobile phone of Chancellor Merz, for example?
I guess it's really the worst solution that you can choose. I can only subscribe to everything Vinit has said, and the major difference is really the speed. And I would call it's a democratization not only of writing the code, but it's a democratization of the attack surface just alike. It's completely interconnected, so you're dealing with state-sponsored attacks, obviously, but also you're dealing with completely different jurisdictions and a different speed that we were ever used to. At the same time, for us, for the last SecuNet, the company I'm running for the last 27 years, has been securing the most critical assets, so the crown jewels, whether it's Chancellor Merz's phone or Army, NATO grade communication, where there's certain different approaches than on open networks. But we really see that it's moving. It was always there, right? I mean, this attack surface, even splitting societies through state-sponsored attacks, they can now just be rolled out on a much larger scale. So where we operate, it's a very hardwired, strong grid, you can say, but it's democratized in the, for instance, Mittelstand, mainly maybe the Mittelstand, where it was an IT problem, and today it is a business imperative.
And I mean, are you able to shed some light on maybe what is the current dynamic, or what are you hearing from your customers? They're being held to the highest of standards in terms of digital security. How are they responding, or how are you helping them respond to this ever increasing, also in terms of velocity, attack landscape?
Our key approach is actually to maintain, to help them move, to your question, to help them move really with the speed that is there in the world, to help them get access to all the new tools. For instance, we have created a restricted and verified AI ecosystem, which allows these clients to run AI applications such as yours in an environment that can be certified and restricted up to a NATO or a secret level. So we basically help them to get access and try with that to remove the worry of actually using it in the first place, because it's, for me, the most challenging imperative in Germany. We rather don't do it instead of making it possible.
I mean, Vinit, you're working with both very young companies, early stage startups, and also working with large corporates in Germany. You have some conversations ongoing with, SDAX, MDAX sort of clients in terms of size. What are the key differences in terms of go-to-market? How are you working with, especially these more established, larger players, to help them introduce a solution like Aikido?
So I guess I've been a founder myself for a long time. I'm not a founder in this company, unfortunately, as much as I would love to, because we've obviously experienced some exceptional growth. The one, I think, one of the defining approaches for us in these last few years has been, we are a product that is used mostly by developers and engineers. and developers and engineers and security people want to get their hands on things, right? It's a bit like being asked an F1 driver to just drive a car. An F1 driver will want to know what's going on under the hood. And so we made it extremely easy for our product to be consumed and used and valued by the end user within a minute or two. Everyone talks about first time to value and all these sorts of things. And we architected that in the product from day one. And that's allowed even the larger organizations who have various risks and processes that they need to mitigate certain risks from. You will sometimes see the chief security officer from a large bank play around with Aikido and our product using their personal GitHub, right? Because they just want to get their hands on it. So I think if your question is about, how can you, if you're a founder or a builder, an operator in this space, I think that anything you can do to shortcut that time between them seeing you and getting value from your product has certainly helped us, right? Is that what you were getting at? Is that the kind of
Yeah, absolutely. And then, I mean, on the other hand, that is, I think, exactly the point. I think sometimes the hardest thing is to get started, especially for larger organizations that are obviously aware of the topic of cybersecurity, but are having to drastically adapt their approach. So making it very easy in terms of barriers to adapt or to change and implement a new solution. I think that is key to the answer to that question. Absolutely.
I mean, it's very positive that the positive side of this threat surface is really that it's becoming commoditized and it's no longer optional. So I guess for guys like you and the way you can roll it out in a very scalable approach is accelerating heavily the access into these boardrooms, and it's no longer an issue of an IT budget, which is great. We have seen this in the, of course, defense industry. It was always a very high standard. But maybe if we shift in terms of speed, when everyone wants to have a hand and a view into what Anthropic has released and then not released, so we had chance to see some of it, but this is fundamentally changing the commercial world. It's on the one hand an issue of power. So why was even Fable drawn back to the US? Was it for the one reason or the other? But we really need to have access. We really need to have a European alternative and economy in order to play in this Formula One game. There was always a race. The race is just much faster and much more driven by technology and scalability.
I mean, this is a great point, right? I mean, we have two companies. You are based in Essen, not too far from here, with SecuNet, and you guys are from Genk. So somewhat in close proximity and in an area that I think historically has been very clear in terms of home address, an American and I would say somewhat Israeli topic, obviously, with Wiz as well. And when we talk about digital sovereignty, obviously having a European cybersecurity champion or network of champions that unites the older economy with what is possible today on the innovative side of things, I think that's how we have a market chance also, and I think you guys should be seeing that in terms of market pull also on both sides of the conversation from your customers that are based here in Europe that want to be secured by European partners, right?
Yeah, it's a very strong trend. I think the message is we don't just need to consume as Europeans. We can build and we can export. We can build, export, and grow great companies. But in terms of sort of societal level needs and how we function as a few hundred million people, there's an even deeper sort of like a question there and philosophy. But yeah, like geographically, it's amazing, I think, that a small town like Ghent, which only has about 200,000 people, has been able to, and we're not the only one, there are other great companies coming out of the ecosystem there, that we've been able to like build companies well and fast and have an impact. I I did not know much about Bielefeld until I learned about the city and this conference until recently. And you've obviously got a strong tradition that I think we as Europeans are very coy and shy about and not that good at sharing. But anyway, yeah, those are other topics to get into. But fundamentally, I think there needs to be at least a coordinated response to how we can build good, strong cybersecurity capabilities in Europe and for Europeans. And I think a good number of companies are starting that, but it needs a much more coordinated attempt for sure.
Maybe just switching gears a little bit, we've spoken a lot about the attack side of things, so where the threats are coming from, but obviously AI also allows us to defend ourselves in a more meaningful and more dynamic way against these threats. You have a product in pen testing that we discussed earlier. I think you are working on that too with a solution in the market. How does that work in practice? I mean, we spoke about things like continuous pen testing, trying to stay in front of the curve if that's possible at all, or stay at the curve, do not fall behind. Is that the product that your customers are using most at the moment, or?
Short answer is yes. It's penetration testing and being able to figure out what is exploitable in your product is the thing that any organization and any developer engineer wants to figure out. Absolutely. But we think we can go further. We think that there's the capability now for any software to be sort of self-securing at the moment that it's produced, right? Like these agentic products and foundational models are very good at building things fast, but they are not very good so far at making sure that they are as secure as they possibly can be. There's a whole sort of set of problems there that it sort of needs to solve. And so yeah, I think it's an achievable goal, but that's the end of the spectrum that we're operating at. I think for you guys, SecuNet is a very different sort of problems, but maybe it's an achievable goal as well.
Yeah, 100%, and especially on the testing side, it was our first use cases were on the testing side. So really, we really challenging our own systems. We have done penetration testing since day one, 27 years, very physical. You find something, there's an incident with a DDoS attack, someone is going and patching stuff. All this is far over, right? So we first used it in quality inspection and testing, and then with the speed of coding increasing, when we go to the point where probably everyone will be a coder or no one, we have it running all alongside our development cycles and checking in the end everything we do. So the only way is to also here be faster than the attackers, let's say.
On the commercial side of the business opportunity within cybersecurity, I mean, there's massive increase in government spending on the defense side, on also public digital infrastructure, expanding it, building it, but also then securing it. Your customers, on average, are allocating more towards securing the organizations. Where do you think this will end ultimately? Are we you mentioned it briefly, are we in a race to the bottom situation where, the marginal cost of an extra line of code goes to zero and the cost of securing that also then should go to zero? Or do you think the budget or the share of the budget that organizations are spending on cybersecurity, at least in the short term, are going to have to continue to rise?
I think short term they'll rise. Long term is very hard to tell. Frankly, I have no idea on that. Just react to it as it develops. But I think the trend that will exist is that with every new wave of any innovation, micro or macro, we're in an increasingly digital world. And as long as there are humans around, one human will want to steal from another human, at whatever level you're operating at, right? It's probably from the beginning of humanity. Sorry?
Except in Bielefeld.
Except in Bielefeld, very safe city, yes, absolutely. So I think, like long term, the problem will just shift, right? Like, the problems that existed 10 years ago that have now been solved have now moved to another space.
Yeah, so we strongly believe that the landscape will change, the spending will rise substantially. At the moment, it's hard to say. You need a lot of energy and tokens, right? If you really go go deep. So it's hard to say how this is evolving, especially, and we're not talking only about army, but whenever it is about warfare, it is going to change. We see this with drones. It's more very much more dual use. It's commoditized to an extent, so you use cheap commercial drones to create a lot of damage, which usually cost, let's say, 100 times. So the landscape is changing. The overall spend is increasing substantially. And the opportunities, that's what we talk about here at Hinterland. I mean, the opportunities for startups in automated cybersecurity solutions, in sovereign solutions for that really help us create a European ecosystem and be, to an extent, have a seat at the table, let's say, be not fully dependent, I think has substantial opportunities. And that's how we screen the market.
I mean, just to add to that, like to your point earlier on, like Mythos and Fable, and these, they're obviously very extremely powerful models, but they are currently very expensive to run and to own and to get value out of. I'm sure the economics will collapse and there will be a reduction in that price. But I also think the skeptic in me is questions slightly the fanfare that it's had in the year that they want to hit like a $1 trillion valuation and IPO, whatever they're trying to do. So take that with a bit of pinch of salt as well, to some extent.
Absolutely, I hope you're right on that. We're getting towards the end of the session, and I was screening the room, and I think there's really the majority of you with blue badges here. So maybe as a last point, as an opportunity, if you could address the corporate and Mittelstand mostly audience in the room, maybe with an action item or something to take away from the discussion. What would that be? Maybe Julian, you would like to start.
Yeah, I think if you take away that cybersecurity today becomes core of your business, it's business critical. That's what we see from everything I can share. It's really incredible how the amount goes up and how much of a societal and business impact it may have. The most attacks we see are really coming more or less state-sponsored attacks that are also aiming at disturbing democratic values to an extent, going towards elections. And everything we see in business is also around espionage and things like that. That's what we see in the heavy cases. So make it a top priority, put it on the top 10 list, and address it with very fast scaling solutions, and also obviously with classic cybersecurity knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, if that's a pitch for Aikido, thank you. I appreciate that. But if you're a Mittelstand company, or you're, I guess any company, and you just want to know where you stand today, there are obviously products like Aikido.dev, and others as well, where you can very quickly and instantly figure out where those risks are in your organization, especially in the technical aspects of the products that you're building and maintaining. And if those risks exist today, then good products out there should help you solve them, or at least secure them, right? So yeah, if that's the sort of thing that bothers you or concerns you, then you should totally take advantage of the sorts of products and services that are out there, because some of us are doing some really, really good work in that space.
Okay, I mean, thank you both for the insightful discussion. We at Heliad, we specifically look to partner with companies active in the resilience and digital sovereignty space. So it's great that we had the chance to talk about that today. You guys will still be at your booth, I guess, until the end of the day. You'll be around, and me too. So I'm very happy to find any of you. Thanks a lot for coming, and enjoy the rest of the day and the night in Bielefeld. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.